So, spirituality, sexuality, shall ever the two meet? If you live in the Western world, then probably not. Probably sex was something that was secret, private, probably shameful, and spirituality was something public outside of yourself that you do in a quote-unquote sacred space away from your own experience. And how far is that getting you? Are you feeling ecstatically, spiritually alive and integrated and experiencing something magical and mystical and beyond your everyday life? Or is it just bringing you a deeper sense of shame and a feeling of disconnection that I can't bring my whole self into the sacred? I can't bring all of me to the divine. One of the things that I've come to love and appreciate about my spiritual journey is this idea of every part of me being sacred. Every part of me being part of God, consciousness, Gaia, creation, whatever the hell you want to call it. And yes, too, are my sexual desires, my sexual orientation, the sexual acts I do by myself with another person. It's all an act of spiritual worship. So if we haven't met before, I'm Kay, I'm an ecstatic life coach. And please, take a moment, hit the subscribe button along with the bell next to it so you can stay updated about videos I'm posting. I grew up in suburban Chicago, Midwest, cornfields not that far away, and I also grew up in a Methodist church. And one of the things that I learned very early on is that our private parts were meant to be kept private, that experience of those things that are naughty have no place in a place of worship. And particularly if you're somebody who would like to play with that little friend of the same gender over there, that is a big no-no. You should feel ashamed for desiring such things. You should feel ashamed for playing with your private parts. And so consequently, I spent the first quarter century of my life celibate, alone, unwilling to accept my non-heterosexual orientation because I believed that I was sinful, bad, wrong, and in many ways subhuman for liking those things. So maybe you're not like me. Maybe you grew up in a much more welcome and inclusive environment. Maybe you grew up being a little more straight, a little bit more normal, a little bit more typically gendered. And so your expression wasn't considered shameful. Your desires weren't considered shameful, but they were still things that were best kept out of sight. I think it's a horrible, horrible, horrible disservice we do to humanity to say, you can only bring part of you into your relationship with God. You can only bring part of you into the sacred. That the other part is dirty, filthy, wrong, disgusting, sinful. Oh, do not get me started on the concept of sin. Sin is not a thing as we make it out to be in the modern world. You know what sin was originally described as being? An arrow missing the mark. That's what it meant in Aramaic. An arrow missing the mark. Nothing bad, nothing damnable, just hey, you tried, it didn't go where you wanted to go, it didn't give you the experience you wanted to have. Aim a little bit differently next time. Instead, we are bombarded with this message of being sinful, ugly, hateful, disgusting creatures who are separate from God, separate from divinity, separate from the light of creation. And you have to work your ass off to get there. There's no guarantee you'll get it. Unless, of course, you believe just by saying, oh, I accept you as my savior, whoever that might be, Jesus, a giant whale from outer space, whatever. No, this is not healthy for ourselves as we evolve spiritually. You are sacred, period. End of story. Every part of you is sacred. There is nothing you can do to remove you from that divinity. Yeah, you might cover it over by some really shitty decisions that take you away from the target you were shooting towards, but that still doesn't make you any less divine. And you should be able to start to view those things that are maybe a little titillating, a little scary, a little intimidating, like sex and sexuality, and start to bring those into the fold of the divine experience. So something for myself, every time I engage in a sexual act by myself, with a partner, with my husband, I always approach it from a sense of worship, a sense of meditation, a sense of bringing ecstatic, life-giving energy into me and circulating it through. I view every sensual act as a way of celebrating life, connecting with the divine within and without, and becoming more healed and whole. And when I do that, sex is magical. And frankly, it's the only kind of sex I'm really interested in having. Sex that gives me life, that makes me feel alive and vibrant. And I view it as worship, no different from going to my meditation space, my altar, and offering incense or offering candles or music or prayer or mantra. I'm offering pleasure. I'm offering this beautiful sacred body I've been given. I'm offering a form of worship through touch. Sex is holy. The expression of your body is holy. Sexual desire is holy and wonderful. And if this rubs you the wrong way, if you feel yourself going inside like, oh, no, that's not true. That can't be true. Oh, that's disturbing. Then maybe take a long, hard look at your programming. I say this a lot, but it's so true. If you cut off a part of yourself because that part of you is wrong, sinful, disturbing, disgusting, I don't want to deal with it, you can never be whole. Pure definition of it, right? I've vivisected out a part of myself. I've cut it off. You will not be whole. And if we look at a spiritual journey, any spiritual journey, as being a search for wholeness, a search of feeling like we are fully integrated, connected with divinity, and perfectly healed, then we need all of our parts to show up. You can't be whole if part of you is sitting over there. Which is why I get so frustrated by the phrase, hate the sin, love the sinner. How fun is it for me to show up at a church and they say, oh, you are welcome here. We love you. We do not love the fact that you butt fuck your husband. That stays outside. That part of you's not good. The part that you love his cock, we can't accept that here. That's not holy. You're telling me that only parts of me are holy, that only parts of me are acceptable, that only parts of me are welcome to the divine. And by all means, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong that rejecting parts of yourself will ultimately make you deeply satisfied, enlightened, loved, and achieve a state of nirvana. Prove to me that you can approach life from a sense of rejection and shame and bigotry and slut shaming and homophobia and all of that shit and still achieve peace and enlightenment. Because I've never seen it. Shoot. The more bigoted a person is, the more judgmental a person is about things, the less quietness they have inside. The most enlightened individuals I found are the ones who can be at peace no matter what. That nothing ruffles them, that they find peace and joy wherever they are. And so yes, I do think there should be more sacred spaces that allow you to show up fully, to allow you to bring your sexuality into that space, to bring your sexual desire into that space. You don't have to leave it all at the door because it is part of you. It is part of being human. It is part of being beautiful. Maybe you're not at that part of your journey yet. Maybe you're not ready to see that every part of creation is divine, that you as you are in your entirety are perfect. Maybe you're not there yet, and that's okay. There's plenty of other YouTube channels and spiritual traditions and spirit guides who will tell you that you're right. But if this message resonates with you, if this speaks to some deep part in your soul, then take a look long and hard at where have you been holding yourself back from true self-acceptance because you believe something you do or something you are or something you crave is not holy. Holy, holy, holy. Are you spelling it with an H or a WH? Because if you want to be holy, then you need to be holy there. You need to accept all of yourself. You need to bring all of yourself to the table. And that means allowing yourself to be perfectly you, as you are, warts and all, sexual proclivities and all, desires and all, shameful bits and all, dangly bits and all. You gotta make room for all of you, because that's the next step. That's how we heal as humanity. So I want you to go out there. I want you to proudly proclaim that you are beautiful, you are whole, and you are divine. And there is nothing you could do, say, or be that makes you less so. Because if we fundamentally believe that the same energy created everything, right? The same quarks and atoms and molecules, the same divine force that manifested in physical form made up everything, then there can be nothing that isn't divine, including slugs, cockroaches, lesser energetic beings, and lower realms. Nothing, everything is divinity. And once you can feel that in your bones, that you can see nothing is more or less divine than something else, then you've won. Congratulations. You just exited the Matrix. So think on that for a while.